Last Saturday, my wife and I had dinner with her best friend Tessa and Tessa's new boyfriend, Caleb. It was one of those casual double date things we did now and then. Nothing fancy, just some homemade food, drinks, and catching up. We hosted because my wife Jess loves playing the hostess. She gets all Martha Stewart about it. Cloth napkins, candles, playlists, the whole thing. We've been married 7 years, together for 10. And yeah, we've had our ups and downs like anyone. But nothing prepared me for what happened that night. Dinner was going fine at first. Small talk, jokes, stories about work. Jess was in a great mood, laughing, touching my arm like she used to back when things felt new. I remember actually thinking, maybe we're turning a corner. Maybe this is a good sign. Around 9 p.m., Tessa brought out dessert, a flourless chocolate cake Jess had made. We were a few glasses deep by then, and the conversation was flowing easier. That's when things started to get weird. Tessa leaned forward, laughing at something Caleb said, and said, Jess, you are terrible. Remember when you told me you cheated on him with that guy from your office? And the room went silent. My fork paused halfway to my mouth. I stared at Tessa, thinking I must have misheard, that she was making some bad joke. But then I looked at Jess. She froze. Not a chuckle, not a correction. Nothing. Her face went pale. Her mouth opened just slightly at that deer in the headlights look. And then she said, Tessa. But it was too late. Tessa's smile faltered, confused. Wait, oh my God, you didn't tell him? Jess still hadn't said anything. Her eyes were darting between us like she was trying to teleport out of the room. I put my fork down. I think my voice shook when I said, Jess. What is she talking about? I don't remember the exact words that followed, just flashes of sentences like shattered glass in my brain. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. It was years ago. It didn't mean anything. You and I were in a rough patch. I didn't want to hurt you. And just like that, the air was gone from the room. The walls were too close. My skin was burning. I stood up so fast my chair scraped the floor, and I think I mumbled something like, I need to get some air, before I walked out the front door into the night. I walked until I couldn't hear the sounds of them calling after me. I ended up sitting on a park bench a few blocks away, staring at nothing. My ears were ringing. My hands were shaking. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck, but there was no blood, no broken bones. Just this raw, hollow feeling in my chest, like my heart had caved in on itself. And the worst part? It wasn't just what she did. It was how long she kept it from me. How easily she could smile across the table from me, hold my hand, kiss me goodnight, knowing there was a secret like that living in the dark corners of our marriage. I don't know how long I sat there. Maybe an hour, maybe more. When I finally came back, the guests were gone. The house was quiet, and Jess was on the couch, her face buried in her hands. She looked up when I walked in. Please, she said, her voice small. Can we talk? I didn't say a word. I just walked past her straight into our bedroom and locked the door behind me. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, trying to remember the last time I felt truly safe with her. Spoiler, I couldn't. The morning after felt surreal. Like I'd woken up in someone else's life. I could hear Jess moving around in the kitchen, the clink of cups, the fridge door opening, the quiet shuffle of feet. Like it was just a normal Sunday morning, but it wasn't. It would never be again. I stayed in bed with the door locked, staring at my phone. I had 3 unread texts from Jess, all some version of, can we talk? And I'm so sorry. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Every time I tried, I'd get this wave of nausea like my body was physically rejecting the situation. Eventually, I dragged myself into the shower just to feel something. I stood under the hot water for 20 minutes, trying to scrub off whatever this was. Anger? Betrayal? Shame? And then I remembered something that hit me like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just about a one-time thing with some guy from work. Jess had said it happened years ago. That didn't narrow it down much considering how long we'd been together. And the way Tessa said it, like it was some inside joke, made it sound like it wasn't a one-night lapse. It sounded like something that had happened more than once. After I got dressed, I finally walked into the living room. Jess was sitting at the dining table with her laptop open and a cold cup of coffee in her hands. Her face lit up with relief when she saw me, but I didn't sit down. "Who was he?" I asked. She blinked. "What?" "The guy. From work. What was his name?" She hesitated. I could see her trying to decide whether to lie again. And that hesitation was another nail in the coffin. "Jason," she finally said. "Jason Hall. He worked in marketing. He left the company a while ago." I closed my eyes. I knew that name. I'd met him at one of her office parties. Shook his hand. We made stupid small talk about football while he smiled at me like I was a complete idiot. "When?" I asked, my voice cracking. She looked down at her hands. "It started in late 2019. It was a few months. I broke it off before COVID. You and I were barely talking at the time. You were so stressed with work, and I cut her off. Don't. Don't make this about me being tired from work." She flinched. "I'm not blaming you. I wasn't in a good place. I didn't think you cared anymore." "You should have told me," I said. "Not 3 years later. Not because your friend accidentally spilled it." She was crying now, not sobbing, just silent tears running down her face. "I wanted to pretend it didn't happen. I wanted to protect us. I wanted to scream, 'You protected yourself.' But I didn't." I turned and walked back to the bedroom. Not because I was done talking, but because if I stayed there 1 second longer, I was going to say something I couldn't take back. Over the next few days, we became strangers, sharing a space. She tried talking. I stayed silent. She tried cooking my favorite meals. I ordered takeout and ate in the car. She left handwritten notes around the apartment. "I love you. We can get through this. Please talk to me." I stopped reading them after the fourth one. Then came Wednesday night. I was going through our shared Dropbox folder trying to find an old receipt for taxes when I saw a hidden folder labeled _JH.stuff. My stomach dropped. I clicked it open, half hoping it was nothing. That maybe it was some work-related thing she forgot about. It wasn't. Photos, emails, screenshots of texts. There was a picture of them at a hotel pool. Her in that blue one-piece she never wore around me because she said it made her feel old. Him behind her, both of them smiling like idiots. There were screenshots of her telling him she missed him, that she wished she could fall asleep next to him every night, that he made her feel alive again. And worst of all, one message where she said, "He's a good man. He deserves better." I feel like I'm rotting inside every time I lie to him. I don't remember dropping the laptop, but I must have, because the sound it made hitting the floor snapped Jess out of wherever she was. She ran into the room, saw the screen still lit up, and her face just crumbled. "Where did you find that?" I looked at her, really looked at her, and all I could think was, how many nights did she climb into bed with me after saying those things to him? "You kept souvenirs," I said. My voice was shaking with fury. "Of the guy you cheated with." "It wasn't like that," she whispered. "No?" I took a step forward. "Then what was it, Jess? A scrapbook? A frickin' trophy case?" She tried to explain. I didn't hear most of it. My ears were roaring again, just like that night. My heart was somewhere outside my body, twisting in the dirt. I walked out, again. But this time, I didn't go to the park. I went to my brother's place and asked to crash on the couch. And for the first time since I met Jess 10 years ago, I didn't say when I'd be back. I stayed at my brother Mike's place for 3 nights. He didn't ask many questions, which I appreciated. Just handed me a blanket, a spare key, and a bottle of whiskey. The only thing he said that first night was, "When you're ready, I'm here." I think I cried for the first time that night. Not loud, dramatic crying, just this quiet kind of breakdown. The kind where the tears come slow, but they don't stop. Like my body had been holding it in for so long it didn't know how to let go properly. Jess texted every day. A few times an hour, actually. Apologies. Please. Promises to explain everything the right way. On the fourth day, I got a message that made me pause. Please come home. I need to tell you the whole truth, not just about Jason. I read that line 100 times. Not just about Jason. So there was more. I don't know what possessed me to go back that night. Maybe I needed to hear the rest just to finally, fully hate her. Or maybe some pathetic part of me still loved her enough to want to understand. I walked in around 8 p.m. She was sitting at the kitchen table like she'd been waiting there all day. Her eyes were red and puffy. She looked small, fragile almost. I didn't sit, just stood near the counter, arms crossed. Start talking, I said. She nodded, took a breath, and said the words that made my stomach turn. Jason wasn't the only one. I didn't react. I think my brain had already prepared for the worst. There were 2 others, she continued, before him and one after. I felt like the air got punched out of me. 3 affairs. 3. She started explaining. Names, places, time frames. One guy from her gym. Another was someone she reconnected with from college. And after Jason, there was a man she met through a book club. That one only lasted a few weeks, she said. Just stupid texting that escalated. I never loved any of them, she whispered. I swear to you, it was never about replacing you. It was about escaping something I couldn't explain. You mean escaping me? I said. No, I mean, I was broken. I felt numb all the time. You were working late, and I didn't know how to tell you I felt invisible. I laughed, or actually laughed, but it sounded more like choking. You felt invisible, I repeated. So you fixed that by sleeping with strangers? They weren't strangers, she said too fast, then immediately winced at her own words. I shook my head. You're unbelievable. She started crying again, reaching for me, but I stepped back. That's why things started feeling off in 2018, right? I said. That was the gym guy. She nodded slowly. And that's why we didn't go on our anniversary trip in 2019. You said work was too crazy, but you were seeing Jason. She covered her face with her hands. I hate who I was then. I stared at her for a long time. So many memories replayed in my head, but now they looked different. Twisted. Fake. I could see the lies in them now, the smiles that weren't for me. The night she said she was going to bed early. The phone she always kept face down. You could have ended it, I said. At any point, but you didn't. You just got better at hiding it. There was this awful silence between us. Then she whispered, I think I wanted to get caught. That broke me. I turned around and walked toward the bedroom. I didn't even know why. Maybe I just needed a second to breathe. And that's when I saw it. Her old phone sitting on the nightstand. It was strange because she hadn't used that phone in at least a year. She had a newer one, a different model. This one should have been in a drawer somewhere. But it was there, plugged in, like someone had just been using it. I picked it up. It was unlocked. Curiosity, or stupidity, got the better of me. I opened the Messages app. There were hundreds of texts. Some of them were from a number I didn't recognize. I scrolled through, heart pounding, hands shaking, and then I saw something I'll never unsee. She hadn't just been cheating, she had been talking about it, bragging about it, confessing it like a sick journal to someone. Except it wasn't just someone. It was Tessa, her best friend, the same one who outed her at dinner. Jess had been texting Tessa everything for years. Play-by-play updates, excuses, regrets, justifications, even pictures. Screenshots of flirty messages. One photo of her in the mirror wearing lingerie I thought she'd bought for me. And Tessa, she wasn't horrified. She wasn't telling her to stop. She was encouraging it, telling her she deserved passion, saying things like, "You only live once and men cheat all the time. Why shouldn't we?" It was like reading a conversation from a different planet. I walked back into the kitchen and tossed the phone on the table. Her face went white. "You read it," she said softly. I didn't respond. I couldn't. My chest felt like it was going to explode. That was the moment I realized it wasn't just Jess who betrayed me. It was both of them. My wife. And the friend who smiled at me over dinner while holding that secret like a loaded gun. After I read those messages between Jess and Tessa, something in me changed. It wasn't just heartbreak anymore. It was rage. Deep, ugly, acidic rage. The kind that makes your hands shake and your jaw lock up. Jess knew. She knew I'd seen it all, and she didn't say a word. She just sat there, staring at me like we were both waiting for a bomb to go off. "Tessa?" I said. My voice didn't even sound like mine. She nodded slowly like her head was too heavy to hold up. "I thought she was your friend." "She is," Jess whispered. "Number?" "She's not. She never was. She knew you were cheating for years. She encouraged it. And then, what? She accidentally outed you over dinner like it was some cute memory? What kind of person does that?" Jess looked down at her hands. She didn't argue. I kept going. "All those times we had her over, birthdays, holidays, backyard barbecues, she looked me in the eye knowing what you were doing." Jess finally looked up at me. Her eyes were full of this desperate and broken kind of shame. "She wasn't trying to hurt you. She was being loyal to me." I laughed. "Loyalty? That's what we're calling this now?" I was pacing at this point, just trying to keep myself from screaming. I wanted to break something, punch a wall, anything. "She's not your friend, Jess. She's your audience." Jess stood up then, like she wanted to stop me, or maybe just catch me before I fell off some emotional cliff. But I backed away. I couldn't stand to be near her. "I need answers," I said, my voice quieter now. "Real ones. Not the cleaned up version you've been feeding me." "When did it start, Jess? When did you first decide I wasn't enough?" She hesitated. I could see the war on her face. The need to tell the truth versus the instinct to protect herself. But something in her finally gave way. "It started in 2017, she said, "before the gym guy." I blinked. "That wasn't the first?" She shook her head. "There was someone else, just once, at a conference. I barely even knew him. I told Tessa the next day." I was terrified. She said I should forget it happened, that it didn't count. "Didn't count," I repeated. "Right, just like your vows, apparently." Jess started crying again, and I hated how part of me still wanted to comfort her. That reflex, that love, still clinging to my ribs like a bruise that wouldn't heal. But I was done. I couldn't stay in that house another night. I packed a bag, just some essentials. Jess didn't try to stop me. She just stood there, sobbing quietly as I zipped the suitcase. Before I left, she said one thing. "I never stopped loving you." I didn't respond. I couldn't. I stayed at Mike's again that night. He poured me another drink and finally asked what happened. I told him everything, and he just sat there, stunned. When I got to the part about Tessa, he actually swore under his breath. "You want me to go over there and talk to her?" he asked. "No," I said, "I'm going myself." So the next day I showed up at Tessa's apartment. She answered the door wearing sweatpants and an oversized hoodie, like she hadn't expected company. The second she saw me, her face dropped. "Oh," she said. "Hey." I didn't let her play it casual. "You knew," I said. "For years." She sighed. "Come in." "I don't want to sit down," I snapped. "I want you to tell me how you justified helping my wife lie to me for half our marriage." Tessa folded her arms and leaned against the doorframe. "It wasn't my place to tell you. I was trying to be a good friend." "No," I said, stepping closer. "A good friend would have told her to stop. A good friend would have helped her fix her marriage, not feed her justifications and cheer her on while she tore it apart. She was miserable, Tessa said. You don't know how bad things were for her. You weren't listening. I was listening, I snapped. I was killing myself at work to give us a good life. I asked her constantly how she was. She lied. Every time. She didn't say anything. Then I asked the question I'd been afraid to ask since that night. Did you ever... Were you involved? Tessa's eyes widened. What? Number God, no. I didn't fully believe her. Not anymore. But I let it go. I didn't have the strength to dig deeper. I'm not here for your apology, I said. I just wanted to look you in the eye when I said this. You are just as responsible for this disaster as she is. And I hope one day, when it all caves in on you too, you remember what it feels like to be lied to by the people you trusted most. Tessa's expression faltered. For a second, she looked like maybe, just maybe, she regretted something. But I didn't wait to find out. I turned around and left. When I got back to Mike's, Jess had sent another message. I've told my mom. She's devastated. I'm not hiding anymore. I'm ready to do anything it takes. Therapy, separation, divorce. Whatever you decide, I'll accept it. For the first time in days, I felt numb. There was no fixing this. No version of our life that goes back to the way it was. The marriage wasn't just broken. It had been rotting for years. And I was just now realizing how long I'd been sleeping next to the decay. A week passed after I confronted Tessa. A full week of silence between Jess and me. No texts, no calls, nothing. I still hadn't decided what I wanted, and divorce, space, revenge, closure. But I knew I couldn't pretend this hadn't happened. I was grieving a version of my life that never existed. Then, on a cold gray Sunday morning, Jess messaged me. There's something else I need to tell you. Please, just once more, face to face. I almost ignored it. I should have. But something about the wording, something else, twisted in my chest like a hook. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was still one final piece I hadn't been given. I agreed. We met at the apartment. She'd cleaned, set out tea. The table was set like we were about to have dinner together. Like that made any difference now. She looked awful. Pale, thinner, exhausted. I probably didn't look much better. Before I tell you, she said, please know that this is not about trying to manipulate you. I can't live with myself if I don't give you the whole truth. I sat down. I didn't say a word. She took a breath. When I found out I was pregnant with Lily, I wasn't sure you were the father. My heart stopped. Lily is our daughter, our 6-year-old, the center of my entire world. I felt like the floor cracked open underneath me. What? I whispered. I couldn't even raise my voice, but I was too stunned. I was with Jason around the same time, she said. It was brief, but the timing lined up close enough that I wasn't 100% sure. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table, tear the apartment apart, run until my lungs gave out. But I didn't move. I just sat there, frozen. And you didn't tell me, I said. You let me raise her, thinking she was mine. She is yours, she said quickly. She is. You were there for every appointment. Every night she cried, every birthday, every moment. You're her dad, not him. But biologically, I choked. I had a paternity test when she was 2, she said, voice trembling. I did it behind your back. I was too scared to face the truth, but she is yours. The test confirmed it. I stared at her, not knowing what to believe anymore. I wanted to believe that part. I needed to. Show me, I said. She didn't hesitate. She went to the bedroom, came back with an envelope, and handed it to me. A printed email with results from some cheap online DNA testing service. My name, Lily's, and a 99.97% match. I exhaled, shaking all over. Relief and fury tangled inside me like barbed wire. You should have told me years ago, I said. I know. You let me live with this lie this whole life while you were just sitting on this secret like it wasn't destroying anything. I told myself I was protecting you, she said, but really I was protecting myself from losing you. There it was, the core of everything. This was never about love. It was always about fear, shame, cowardice. I stood up. I'm going to file for divorce. Her face crumbled like glass under pressure. I know. I'll fight for full custody, I added. But I won't keep Lily from you. You're still her mother. Jess nodded, tears running down her face. That's fair. You're a better parent than I'll ever be. I walked out without another word. The wind hit me like a slap, but for the first time in weeks, I felt something close to clarity. The next few months were hell. Lawyers, mediation, counseling, not for reconciliation, but for Lily's sake. Explaining things to a child without destroying her world was the hardest thing I've ever done. We told her, Mom and Dad are going to live in different homes, but we both love you more than anything. She cried. We cried. But she smiled again a week later. Kids are stronger than we think. I moved into a small apartment near her school. The silence was unbearable at first, but it slowly became peace. Jess and I barely speak now. We communicate through a co-parenting app. Tessa? I blocked her. She tried texting me once. I never meant for this to happen. Too late. But here's the thing. Pain fades. Truth doesn't. I'll never be the man I was before that dinner. That version of me died in the middle of a pasta plate and an offhand confession. But I survived. I'm healing. And someday, maybe I'll trust someone again. But next time, I'll look deeper. I'll listen to the quiet moments. And I won't ignore my gut when something feels off. Because the worst betrayals aren't always loud. Sometimes they wear the face of the person who kisses you goodnight.